moving on. So a lot of us are moving this in as a potential claim to file. So a 50% rating says you require the use of a breathing assistance device such as a CPAP machine. So my understanding of this and the way it is if this is where you're at, if you're prescribed a CPAP machine, that means you already have a diagnosis of sleep apnea, and the symptoms portion of that is covered by the prescription of the CPAP machine. The hard part with these claims is the nexus. We're not really going to go into the nexus too much, but it says use of a breathing device such as a CPAP machine. There's other breathing devices, and then there's non-breathing devices. Maybe you could help out with that a little bit.
Well, breathing device, so they talk about CPAP, but there's probably a lump. There's a auto PAP, there's a CPAP, there's a BiPAP, there's a BiPAP ST, there's a ASV for the people who have central sleep apnea. There's ventilators probably, so any of those breathing devices in there would probably work. I don't believe for the VA ratings it includes the oral appliances. I think this is solely discussing PAP machines as a way to stent your
that's
airway
good.
open.
So this means, and we're getting in the weeds, but when I think about it, breathing assistance device is forcing air into you versus like the mouth guard or the nose, right? Some of those other things are not actually continuously pushing air into your wherever it pushes it into.
So, true. CPAP is continuous positive airway pressure.
Continuous positive airway pressure.
Positive airway pressure.
Okay.
So a CPAP usually is a set prescription. So you go in, you have a sleep study done, a CPAP test done. The tech who's performing the sleep study is going to make sure that at this adequate pressure, you no longer have any apneas. So then their doctor is going to make that a prescription. Your CPAP pressure is set on that machine. A lot of people sometimes end up with an APAP, it's called auto pressure, where that machine can automatically adjust when you need it. So maybe you need more pressure while you're sleeping on your back, less pressure while you're laying on your side. So this machine will automatically do that. There are people who need.
And to interrupt, I'm pretty sure that's what I have is the auto PAP thing. So anyway.
They'll set it from a range from a therapeutic pressure of 5 to maybe 25. And somewhere in between there, you might need it. BiPAP, it's a bi-level. Sometimes pressures get too high where your inhalation pressure is one pressure, exhalation pressure is a little lower, so it's a little more comfortable. Some people need that. Some people can't tolerate that continuous one pressure in, one pressure out. So BiPAP's a little more comfortable. BiPAP with a backup rate. Some people need extra ventilatory, assistance when they're breathing at night. And then, we're talking about obstructive sleep apnea, but there's central sleep apnea where your brain doesn't signal you to breathe. And then there's a whole separate type of device that fills in that breath for you.
Oh, and then right, there's 3 types of sleep apnea we're really going down, right?
Well, there's obstructive.
Obstructive.
Nothing's getting past here. Obstructive. Central, think of your brain as your central component. So your brain is not sending you that signal for you to take a breath. And then complex sleep apnea is kind of a mixture of both. You can have both central and obstructive.
Okay.
And so that auto servo machine, ASV, very intelligent machine. Like I said, it'll watch you sleep for a period of time. And then if it notices that you're not breathing, it will fill in that breath for you.
There are 2 times when you don't need a nexus. When you file a claim while you're still on active duty, like a BDD claim, or when you're in the 1-year presumptive period. Any other time, you need a nexus. You also need a strategy. Check out my boot camp and contact my med team if you need a nexus. All right, so back to the rating part and just my own frustration with that thing. Like I'm just like really embellishing or whatever, but literally that thing, strapping that thing onto me and that cord, like I can't use that thing. I feel like that thing's wrapped around my legs and I'm hanging from it. And I'm not the only one like this, but I also was diagnosed with mild, and I was told like, yeah, you might want to start getting used to it. It's not going to kill you at the moment. Figure out a way to get some sleep. But a lot of people will use an alternative method other than, air being poofed in. That will take you, and that's fine because your health is more important. But for rating purposes, if your assistance device, or if you got a Walgreens, or you toothpick your lips open, or whatever you do to make it work, that wouldn't qualify you for a 50% rating. You need to actually have a diagnosis of the thing. You're laughing.
Absolutely. No, I am, because it made me think of the tongue retainer where you have this thing that suctions your tongue out of your mouth, and your tongue's out of your mouth the whole time you're sleeping. But yes, in order to qualify for this rating, you definitely need to go to your doctor, have a face-to-face, discuss your symptoms, spill them all out there, getting up to go to the bathroom, waking up in the morning headaches, dry mouth in the morning, maybe that uvula on the back of your throat is all swollen. Your bed partner is telling on you, pushing you, pushing you to roll over, or they're the ones who are reporting they can hear you stop breathing. Um, you're excessively sleepy during the day because you're not getting good quality sleep. I think you're tired of being tired. So you just need to make sure you talk about those symptoms so that they are documented, because that's what the insurance is looking for. And then you have that sleep study done. It proves exactly what your symptoms are. And then you get prescribed this device to help you breathe.
This might be a good time. Maybe you are considering this as a rating, or that you have it. Actually, I always talk about rating and money first, because healthcare is a different part of the VA. This is benefits. So I'm going to mix the two up. Are you not in my boot camp yet? This is the easiest way that I know to teach you to win your VA claim. Links in the description, combatcraig.com. I think I have sleep apnea, or I have some symptoms. And I also have my wife, ex-wife now, telling me I'm a nightmare, and I'm like, the aliens taking over my body, and I snore a lot and stuff. I have to, like, to get a sleep study, they don't just hand them out like Motrin. I believe there's something called a stop bang test or something like that that you have to, like, kind of pass, for lack of a better word. But what's that all about?
So the Stop Bang questionnaire is a questionnaire designed by a group of anesthesiologists, and it's the only subjective questionnaire out there that a tool that physicians can use. And the S stands for, do you snore? The T is, are you tired? O, and do you have observed sleep apnea, or observed witness stop breathing? P, do you have high blood pressure? B is your BMI, I think it's over 32. Age, are you over 50? Neck size is the N, like you said, and I think it's over 16 and a half. I'd have to go back and look. So I shouldn't say that, maybe 16. And then, or 15 and a half. And then G, gender, are you a male? So there's 8 questions. Men can answer all 8. Females can answer that same questionnaire, but they can get 7 out of 8, obviously, because of that one gender question. And so that's, if you answer 3 of those as being positive, you're already at risk for some sort of sleep disorder.
I was going to say, I don't believe they asked 8, I believe, but they probably did. Maybe they did. Maybe the VA dumbs it down
Well,
to
they probably
5 or
knew
something.
some of them.
What's that?
They know
Yeah.
some of them already. Yeah, they know
Oh,
your
right.
age.
Yeah, you don't have to request it if you
Right.
already know my age, or you already know. Yeah, or
You know
whatever.
your man.
I'm
You
a
know,
male.
yeah,
Okay.
you know your BMI. So they're going to ask you the other questions most likely.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's the way they would cater to gender, right? Male or females. It's just a little bit different. So there's assumptions they can make based on. We already know this about
Exactly.
you. Okay.
Well, the Stop Bang questionnaire was really designed for the men more than they were for the women, because men actually present their symptoms and will admit those kind of symptoms sooner than the females will. The females will report other symptoms